Hello, Scrappy friends. This is Scrappy Kathy with Amethyst Day. It's Amethyst Day in the Dotty about Flair monochromatic madness neighborhood. And it's also day 25 of 30 Days of Sketches and Scrap Timber. And this is the sketch for today, and I'm going to do it all in purple. And it's the prompt from Scrap Timber is punches and dies. So I've die cut a bunch of stuff. And the three prompts from Dotty About Flair are to use patterns, layers, and stamping. So I'm gonna use all of those things, patterns, layers, and stamping, and die cuts. But first I need to tell you a sob story. This is going to be a long video, I think, because everything I have tried to do today has just not worked out the way I wanted. First of all, my printer went on a blank. I printed a perfectly good page first thing this morning, and then when I went back to do the next one, it stopped feeding my normal 8.5 by 11 printer paper. And I noticed that it was the little gear mechanism that kind of rolls over the paper and kind of scrubs it and feeds it down that wasn't working. So I thought, well, I'll pull out some 13 by 19 paper and I'll run it through. And the first page I went through was fine. What I don't like about when I buy photo paper, most of the time, I buy double-sided because A, I don't see well enough to be able to tell the difference between the front side and the back side of matte paper. And I only use matte paper because it doesn't reflect when I take photos of my layouts. Glossy paper, you can tell the difference, and the paper that has the brand name written across the back, you know, that I can see. But just plain, like what I guess they call it presentation paper that's matte, I can't tell the back from the front. And so having it double-sided is great because if I make if I do something wrong on the foot, I can just turn it over. It prevents a lot of waste. So the 13 by 19 paper I have isn't double-sided. It's very, very faintly whiter on one side than the other. I don't know if you can tell this. This is one that I had crumpled up and put in the trash. I noticed the quality of the printing was very, very different from what I usually get. And I looked and looked, and I suppose as I fold this over and put this next to this, you can tell a faint bit more yellow. So I figured this was on the wrong side. I kind of turned it over. So I got another sheet and tried it many times, but you can kind of see the difference in the printing there, the difference in those photos, printing it on the right side versus the wrong side. So this gets crumpled up and put back in the trash. It takes forever and uses a whole bunch of ink, so I'm really disappointed that I did that. So my little photo I'm going to use on this layout came from right here, and I had cut it out of the other page before throwing it away and put it down as a layer there. This is my photo strip, and I'm actually going to lay this one, the good one, on top, and it's actually going to add a little bit of dimension to it. So I was prepared if this one hadn't worked, if it didn't feed through, and if I couldn't reprint it properly, at least I had the other one there as a placeholder. So here's what I've chosen for this page. I've got two purple papers. Let me kind of shoot all of this stuff off. I've got two purple papers from Color Study, and one of them striped, the other has these little stars on it. They're both kind of mixed media-ish, and I hate covering up. Like, this to me is gorgeous. I hate covering that up, but I'm going to do the stripe over here on the, well, maybe I'll do it right. Get that over. The sketch has what looks like 3 inches and 9 inches. So I've got a 3-inch strip here and a 9-inch strip. I cut there was a totally purple strip out of this Paige Evans paper from the Wonders collection, and it abutted a striped section that had a purple stripe in it, so I cut that out just to make a divider here, because remember, the only thing I can use in my monochromatic challenge here is the color purple, the amethyst color, and black and white. So I've got that on there. That's kind of formed a little stripe. And I have I'm going to line up my photo strip, which is right here. First of all, I'm going to put a ton of foam behind it. Not a ton necessarily, but some. I'm going to cut it here because I'm going to layer some stuff on and around and under and through and all these things. I have lots of, my opening shot there was of the purple Flair that just arrived today, which is why I'm doing the layout today. Oh, whoops. And I pulled out, I had some purple buttons. I put foam behind all the Flair in case I find some way to use it all, or so that any Flair that I choose can be used fairly quickly. This scrap of paper behind these photos is an ombre purple from Wonders. I think it was a 6x8 pad that has gold polka dots on it. And I made a film strip of like 3 sections instead of 4, like in the sketch. And I'm only going to have one photo. The story here is about the chaos that has occurred. I was so proud of this table that I brought in from outside, and I set it up with my sewing machine here, and then a little like a nightstand that has drawers in it that had my sewing stuff. And then on the other side, I have a 24x36 craft mat and storage towers with my paints and pastes, the mixed media supplies that I will be using with my gel printing. And I have a glass mat, and my gel plate is on that glass mat, and I can use it so it sets up kind of a permanent gel printing station for me. And so, lo and behold, water comes in the house over in the office up at the front of my little basement apartment. And so that whole desk got moldy and its contents and so forth. So I had to take everything off the top of that desk, including my giant economy-sized wide format printer, my 27-inch Mac, and my scanner. And all of those things are usually more space-saving because I have a table that the scanner fits under and the printer fits on top of, but I couldn't get the electrical wiring to work without moving a bunch of stuff off the table. And I had just set it up, and there's no other place for any of that stuff to go. I've got every dry inch of floor space occupied by stuff that's had to be moved from where things got wet. And in addition to worrying about whether I might lose some of my albums and so forth, I've left myself narrow spaces to walk, so my feet barely fit. And this is one of those, areas that's kind of, I guess, representative of the chaos that's in this house. So I had the perfect stamp set for that. That was all an introduction to Visible Images Creative Chaos stamp set. And it's got this circular thing that says Chaos Theory, and I have stamped that and cut it out and backed it with foam, and I'm going to use it down here as part of this. I've also used this stamp, and I've stamped directly on this white piece of paper. I've used the flower stamp, so I'm going to do it right here and let the stem go across the photo there. And I'm going to use this stamp around on the background paper, kind of as a background for where Flair can go. So I will see how that works out. I've got it mounted on the stamp block, and I've got my ink at the ready. And so I kind of want to see, well, let me put this together right now, just to kind of get an idea. I want it kind of hanging off to the side there, and then I'll use a little bit of glue. I've got my glue upside down to try to see if that helps with the flow, and it does. I didn't think it would work because I used this to kind of keep it from drying up in the little narrow part. But I found a tall enough cup that keeps it, and this is my Beatles Yellow Submarine cup that says all you need is love. And so it seems to be working. I've used it a couple times today, and it does flow much more easily than it had been. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put this down. I may as well build the photo cluster. And I'm going to put it here where you can still see the outline of that little circle. I'm going to add a flare there. Let's see which one we want. I'm going to go ahead and just use this solid purple and kind of slide it up under there. I'm going to use a flare here, but I'm not really ready to put that on yet. So this is going to go at an angle like this, and these two strips are going to kind of go off to the side, and then I'm going to layer some other things, but I don't want... I'm going to kind of make a pencil or a pen mark down there. I don't want the dimensional things on when I do my stamping. So I'm hoping that comes out. Okay, so that's where things are going to go. Now I can do some stamping. And I'm just going to maybe do it... Let me just kind of put this back on and kind of see. I know I'd probably like one up in that corner, and for sure kind of down here maybe, and I'll keep kind of turning it around. Maybe I'll do a couple down this side and maybe one out kind of coming out this way, maybe one right in the corner, and others kind of surrounding the photo cluster. I'm not going to do anything out in there. So, and part of these will get covered up by some of these other layers that I'm going to bring in. Let me make sure that I've got this on camera. Okay, so now I'm just going to start stamping. And because it's a page about chaos, I'm not really going to care if the stamping doesn't come out perfect. In fact, it almost would be better if it didn't. I'm going to do some where it shows. Let's do that, and maybe that, and kind of overlap a few of those. Do something here, and kind of go up where just a part of it comes out. There's going to be some stuff, the title bit is going to come out right here. That's one of the stamps, and I stamped that Out of Chaos Comes Creativity, and I put it on foam so that it forms a little pocket for me to put my journaling down into. So that's just something a little bit different. Let's go with that, and I'll do a little bit right there, and I know a lot of that's gonna be under the photo, but that's okay. And I'll just kind of connect these in a way. Okay, so that's a bunch of stamping. A lot of it'll get covered up, but we'll see. It makes a perfect background for Flair, so that makes it worth doing. Let me do one more layer of foam. As I say, it makes a good background for Flair. I realize I need to provide room for the Flair to slide under, and by raising this up, it kind of does that. Okay. Just want to be sure my lines don't show. There we go. Now, I should be able to kind of slide that under at a slightly different angle. And then I'm going to overlay this. I love this black and white polka dot paper. It's Bella Boulevard. You Are My Sunshine, I think, is the line. And it came in my Mind the Scrap kit. Let's test the glue theory here. Oh, it's working beautifully. So thank you for pointing that out to me. Several of you messaged me when I was complaining about this. And that's kind of at a little bit different angle. I kind of maybe want it to go out before coming in. Okay. Now, I'm going to use this, it's all about layering, right? I'm going to use this Viewmaster piece right there. And this is a very orderly, in contrast to this. I wanted to put it kind of here with the chaos. I have no idea what this was for. It came in one of the Creative Cuts Club kits, and they're themed, and I rarely pay attention to the theme, and don't tell Christina, but I like kind of pulling them apart and using them maybe for things they weren't intended to be used for. And so I end up with pieces that I have no idea what the theme was or why they were there. Since it's a film strip, speaking of Creative Cuts Club, I've got these pieces that I'm going to run along under here. I've got to get them straight because they've been kind of hanging around where they've been allowed to move and get a little bit wonky. I kind of want this down so that it's not on top of that. I will probably be putting a Flair right there, but I want the base of this to be straight before I do anything, put anything on top, because if it shows after I put things on, then it's too late to be able to move it. I'll put this one kind of more towards the top. And that stamping just kind of shows as a sort of a backdrop there. I'm going to use these little die cuts that I cut for something else entirely, but they're there, and they look nice kind of coming out from under Flair. And it's all about the Flair, right? You gotta get that right. And I've got the flower there. I love that stamped flower. I will be using that a lot on pages, and it might actually get me to make some cards, because I can envision stamping the image, the whole image down, and then stamping it again off on another sheet, and just fussy cutting the flower part and then popping it up over the stamped bottom part. Okay, I'm gonna let this kind of overlap into there. Okay, so I think that's made contact, so the glue will stick. Okay, now I'm going to do the title, and I'm going to line the title up do I want it touching this where the I think I'll just have it kind of sitting there. I have a few other embellishments that are in purple that I kind of thought, I'm going to line that up along the dots, and then I can kind of, this is intentionally made a different shape, and it can kind of sit right there. Now, let's go for some Flair. Let's see if these other, I've got these purple enamel dot type things that also came in a Creative Cuts Club thing. Let me put this says Note to Self, and it's from a Vicky Bouton chipboard sticker sheet, and I thought it might be cute, kind of sticking off the side here. And this one says, on this day, and that photo was taken today. So I guess I could maybe slide it up under there and put it on the photo. And it's okay if it loses part of its identity. If you can't read the whole thing, you kind of know what it says. And it's purple, so had to be used, right? Let me get that in place here before that dries. Do I want it so that the purple glitter shows, or do I want it all the way down? Let's push it all the way down. And I'll push it out just as much as I can so that it can be red. Okay, there. And then that leaves some room. Instead of Flair right there, maybe I could do this butterfly. This is a Paige Evans butterfly, also from Wonders. And it's been kicking around. I pulled it off the chipboard sheet a while back to use on a project, and I didn't use it. There. I like that. Okay, I'll put these small things and the buttons last. But now let's start layering on these Flair. And I'm going to kind of line them up inside these circles, but slightly off center, so that they're not, it doesn't look like I did that as an outline for them, which I kind of did, but it doesn't have to look that way. I'm going to mix these up. I'm not really worrying about what goes next to what else. I love this purple wood grain. I think I'm going to ask Adam, if you're listening, I'm going to ask Adam to make me up about 500 more of those. I'm going to do that, see where I'm kind of doing it a little bit off center. I want to do one here to kind of go by those flowers. And here I'm going to introduce this more fuchsia color, because these are the bluer purples I've got down here. I'll do that, and then I'm going to layer another one on top of it, kind of like that. We'll see. I love this kind of celestial looking one. And I like the stripe. Let's do the stripe maybe right there, and I can maybe put a little button or something on that. I like this one for right here, and then I can put another one there because that is, and let me do the little clouds, because I stamped that circle. There we go. It's kind of, a cloudy day. I may get these all on there. That one just fell. That's not really there. Maybe one overlapping there. I don't think that I have enough foam on it, but let's see if we can get that to work. There we go. And I've got a bluish one and a magenta one. I need something right there, and maybe this stripe. I think I might have those three left, and I actually thought I'd use them all, but I could layer this on top of that. That would work, and that's kind of pretty together. Let's see, maybe I could do this one as part of a trio right there. I do trios of sequins all the time. I haven't necessarily done it with Flair, but why not? And I've got this one that could maybe layer under that butterfly right there. And let's do another trio down here. Okay, guys, I got all 16 on here. And now I'm going to add some little decorations to the Flair, add a few buttons. I found 3 tiny purple buttons and 3 slightly less tiny. not exactly larger, but not as tiny. And I'm going to kind of work those in here, almost as if they were sequins. And I'm having fingernail problems. That worked, putting the 2 bits of the tweezer into the holes, and I'm reaching around my camera holder. I like the fuchsia on fuchsia. Okay, where do I need one? I need one down here in the XOXO. And I'm going to just kind of add these in to, reinforce not only the purple, but the circles everywhere. Oh my gosh, I love this. you all know how much I love purple. And this really does it for me. I'm gonna move this one away from, it's a little close to that one, so I'm gonna move it up here close to this guy. Okay, I think we're done, and that took maybe a little bit less time than I thought it might. It's true to the sketch in that everything is kind of concentrated here. It certainly has layers. There's a lot of pattern. There's a lot of, there's pattern, layers, and stamping. There's lots of stamping in there. And I have die cuts. This is a die cut, the film strip's a die cut. And it's a photo. The story is going to be meaningful for a very long time, because when I get through this, I doubt that I will ever organize anything or store anything the same way. I will never trust that something can't come in and totally mess things up for me. So, thank you for watching. This has been a lot of fun, and like I said, it took a little bit less time than I thought. I'm very happy with it, so I hope you've enjoyed it. And that stamp set, Creative Chaos from Visible Image, that's got to be one of my all-time favorite stamp sets in the history of stamp sets. So perfect for this page. Thank you for watching. And Adam, thank you for creating the most incredible monochromatic amethyst purple Flair set. And if you do your purple page and upload it in the album, you too would be eligible for a drawing to win all those Flair, all 16 of those gorgeous purple Flairs. So I'm going to bring it up closer so you can kind of see it. And hopefully out of all this chaos, there will come some creativity. I will say that while everything's been messed up and I'm kind of sitting waiting on people to come by and do this assessment or that one, and keep refilling and emptying, or keep emptying the dehumidifier bin and bucket and so forth, I've been moving right along, doing my 30 days of sketches, trying to get them done before the retreat I'm supposed to go to, and assuming that I am going to the retreat. So we'll see if that happens. If I curl that petal up, you can read that a little bit better. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.